Good evening, and welcome to the Autism Blogcast. I'm Jim Mancini.
And I'm Rafe Bernier. First up tonight, do fevers lessen behavioral problems in children with autism? Well, new research suggests that for a subset of children with autism, that might just be the case. So a team of scientists waded through parent responses in a medical history interview of over 2,000 participants from the Simon Simplex collection. The Simon Simplex collection is a study funded by the Simons Foundation to aid in gene discovery. The scientists tabulated the number of parents that endorsed that their child's symptoms lessened when their child had a fever. It turns out that 17% of parents reported that their child's behavior improved when they had a fever. Now, a study published about 10 years ago by other scientists using a different approach, using a different sample, reported a rate of 83% of children showing lessened behavioral challenges during a fever. Now, the most accurate estimate is likely somewhere in between. The question is, why and for whom? Well, based on the most recent work, having a genetic variant does not seem to relate to improved symptoms, but the children who tended to respond during a fever tended to have more impaired language, more impaired cognition, and a greater severity of restricted or repetitive interest in behaviors. So is this simply a function of lethargy that's due to the illness that reduces behavioral challenges? Or is there something about neurological change that is induced by the fever? So more work clearly needs to be done to understand the mechanism for this very interesting observation, which has oftentimes been reported by parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Ray. Inclusion. There's been a lot of discussion recently about promoting inclusion for people with disabilities, and quite a lot of buzz in the community thanks to efforts to increase awareness and community events that with the stated intention of supporting a more inclusive community. You know, Ray, these efforts are really well timed because there's going to be a spotlight on Seattle next summer when we will be hosting the Special Olympics USA Games. So there's a lot of efforts underway to really have Seattle be a city of inclusion. But what is inclusion anyway? For a long time, it's really been associated with public schools and efforts to include or mainstream children with special needs into the regular education curriculum. But it's really come to represent something broader than that, okay? So when consulting with Merriam-Webster Dictionary, we get this definition: the act of including, the state of being included.
Jim, sorry, I can't stand when a definition uses that word inside a definition, but okay.
Me too. So I think we can come up with something better than that. So here are some of the organizations who have recently or will be holding events to promote inclusion in our community. Our friends, the Arc of King County, in August co-hosted the first annual Community Inclusion Festival in partnership with the Northwest Center and the Special Olympics. And in September, they hosted their fourth annual 5K run, walk, and roll for inclusion in Seattle's Magnuson Park. Inclusity, sponsored by ProVale, will be taking place on October 5th at McCaw Hall. The goal of Inclusity is to educate the community, specifically those not in the disability sector, about the organizations and individuals around them that have had successful efforts in creating inclusion. In 2018, the Washington Autism Advocacy Alliance will host a Day of Inclusion Walk and Family Fair next April 8th. And they also annually recognize employers with inclusive hiring practices at their Wall of Impact Luncheon. This will take place on March 6th, 2018. And we've already reported on the Welcome Inclusion Initiative, who hosted a symposium in June of this year, and we're sure to hear more from that group in the coming months. Okay? If you're interested in getting involved in some of these events and spread the word about inclusion, we encourage you to contact these organizations and get involved. And getting back to that poor definition of inclusion, this month we want to introduce a new series. In our efforts to join in building a city of inclusion, we have sent our crack team of reporters into the field to ask the question, what does inclusion mean to you? Here's the first installment.
We're meeting people, meeting students here at Crestwell, learning about what it means to different people when they think of the word inclusion. Do you have any thoughts? Have you heard of that word inclusion? And if so, what does that mean to you?
I've heard it, but I don't hear it a lot here because I don't I don't think it's like people like they know about it. I just think sometimes they ignore it because I think that they think it's better to just ignore it and like it's not my problem. Just let it be kind of thing. And so what it means to me is that you acknowledge it and that it's there and that it needs to be, something needs to be done about it. Like, something needs to be changed to get better. Like, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, meaning that if you don't say something, nothing happens.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.
Man, we freaking nailed it. That
Killed
time.
it the first
Dude,
time.
that is
Killed
done.
it. Killed it.
Boom. Done.
Totally missed Kylie.
I know.